In Spanish culture, there is a phenomenon of the generation of 1898. It refers to the poets and writers who arrived at the collapse of the Spanish Empire at the end of the 19th century. The loss of Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Philippines, the defeat in the war with the United States. These writers separated state from people, official Spain from its culture. One of the brightest representatives of this generation was the novelist Blasco Ibáñez. An opponent of the empire and the opponent of revanchist dictator, he spent years in prison and years in exile. The last decade of his life, Ibáñez lived here in Menton, where he bought the lovely Fontana Rosa estate and created a garden dedicated to his favorite writers, Balzac, Dickens, and of course, Cervantes. I'm Dmitry Makarov. Let's go. This garden is a dream of Spain, more precisely of Valencia, where the writer was born. The garden has several fountains and benches decorated with painted ceramic tiles. Here you will find roses and other flowers. Personally, I love the fountain with the azure crabs and frogs. Ibáñez lived in Menton until his death in 1928 and wrote here several novels and short stories in his garden. Over the course of his life, the writer's views evolved. As a young man, he was active in the Republican movement, joined some conspiracies against the monarchy, and published a very liberal newspaper. Ibáñez opposed the suppression of the Cuban uprising. Over these years, he was imprisoned at least 30 times. Not once he was forced to leave Spain. By the beginning of World War I, he ceased his political activities. In the novels of that time, the reader can feel his disappointment in people who are not only incapable of transforming the world for the better, but can humiliate and destroy any gifted and bright human being. That's why his perception of the revolution in Russia was contradictory. He saw a chance for Russia in it, but feared the iron proletarian dictatorship. With reason, as we now know. The will itself was partly destroyed during the Second World War. Only the former home cinema theater and the building with the fish tank and the writer's butterfly collection have survived. However, the jewel of the garden, which is called the Garden of the Novelist, is the fountain dedicated to Cervantes. In addition to several sculptures, including a bust of the great writer, created by the Russian sculptor Leopold Bernstam, you'll find here a retelling of the Don Quixote, a graphic novel in ceramic tiles to remind you the immortal plot. And let us remember, looking at the tiles, what Dostoevsky said. He was another favorite writer of Ibáñez. A man answering to God what he has understood during his life on earth can lay out before the Almighty a volume of Don Quixote, and that would be enough. Restoration of the garden is processing extremely slowly, though perhaps it should have been left as it is now. Visit it to think about the eternal or banal on Mondays and Fridays. Admission is free.